In this video, I'm going to talk about something called functional depression. And not the kind of depression that you can have and you can still live a normal life, but like the depression that you probably should have. So first of all, I want to use an analogy. Let's say there's a hot stove and you put your hand on it. What's going to happen? It's going to hurt and you're going to yank your hand away. Now, for a thought experiment, let's just see what happened if you left your hand there. Your hand would start to melt into this mushy potato type substance and you wouldn't have a hand anymore. I like my hands, so I'm going to move my hand away. I personally think this is a great analogy for a lot of the depression that's out there. If you take a look at a lot of people who are depressed and you look at their lives, there's probably a reason behind it. And to kind of back this up, I'm going to look at the 2 points in my life where I would consider myself depressed. One was in high school, and that wasn't really depression. It was more just social anxiety, so we can just put that one to the side. The second one was in college. And when I look at my college life, I probably should have been depressed. I didn't have any friends, I wasn't eating healthy, I wasn't getting regular exercise, and I was pursuing something that I didn't love. I would call that functional depression. I probably needed that to get out of that situation. And so that's what happened, I dropped out. It's a good thing too, because it probably could have gotten way worse. When you think you have depression and you go to a doctor or a therapist, the first thing they do is not necessarily ask you about your social circle. Is it thriving? They don't ask you if you're smoking weed every day. They don't ask you how much alcohol you're drinking. They don't ask you about your financial situation. They don't ask you if you're pursuing what you love. Have you been sleeping around? And I think changing those things is a lot easier than doing what most doctors recommend. These are actually Tums. I can't take pills. I really can't swallow them. It's also really hard to tell someone that their depression is their fault. But maybe that's what they need to hear. Now, I'm not saying this is backed by evidence or this is backed by scientific studies. I have just read a whole bunch of psychology textbooks, and I have realized in my life that's when I had depression. I'm not downplaying anyone else's depression, and I'm not saying that most of depression is actually a chemical imbalance in your brain or caused by a gamma ray that shouldn't have hit you. I'm just saying I look around and I see a lot of depressed people who probably should be depressed. It's their brain telling them to pick their hand up off the stove, to change something in their life for the better. So if you like this video, leave a little heart, and if you don't like it, leave a comment below and let's start a discussion.